You don't get credit for being dependent. Living off someone else's efforts isn't an accomplishment. Just because you've found a way to exist without contributing doesn't mean you're succeeding. It means you're avoiding. Every day you choose not to take responsibility is another day you're falling behind. This world doesn't hand out rewards to people for staying stuck. Growth doesn't happen in comfort zones. Growth happens when you step into the uncomfortable and do the work, even when you're scared. Dependency may buy you time, but it steals your future. You've confused comfort with success. Just because you have a roof over your head, a warm meal, and internet access doesn't mean you've made it. All those things are being provided by someone else, and one day that source could dry up. You don't own your life when you depend on others for basic needs. You're not building anything of your own, and that should terrify you. Being comfortable isn't the same as being free, and when you're dependent, your freedom is an illusion controlled by someone else's patience and generosity. The people who enable you aren't helping you, they're actually holding you back. They may think they're showing love, but love without boundaries becomes destruction. If someone is constantly rescuing you from the consequences of your choices, they're not saving you. They're preventing you from growing. Every time you avoid responsibility, someone else is picking up the slack. That may feel like support, but it's really a leash. You cannot become strong by leaning on someone else forever. Sooner or later, that support will become resentment, and then you'll be truly on your own, with no idea how to stand. Respect is something you earn, not something you demand. If you want to be treated like an adult, then act like one. You can't coast through life, putting in zero effort, and then act surprised when people stop trusting you or listening to you. You can't build confidence by doing nothing. You have to earn it through consistent, intentional action. People are watching how you live, not what you say. If you want respect, start by respecting yourself enough to step up and take charge of your life. Excuses might sound convincing in your head, but they're really just lies you've grown comfortable with. Saying the timing isn't right, or no one's hiring, or I'm still figuring things out, may ease your guilt temporarily, but they do nothing to move you forward. You'll always find a reason not to change, until you decide that your excuses are the problem. Life doesn't wait. It keeps moving with or without you. And if you keep waiting for the perfect moment, you'll wait forever and still be in the same place 5 years from now. Responsibility is not optional. It's the foundation of personal freedom. No one's coming to fix your life for you. That fantasy needs to end now. There's no magical moment when everything clicks. There's just you, your decisions, and your willingness to get uncomfortable. You have to be your own rescue plan. You have to stop blaming your past, your parents, your friends, or society. The truth is, you've got one life, and it's not going to build itself. Real change happens when you take ownership of everything: your time, your money, your attitude, your future. You are capable of more, but you're scared to try, and that fear is keeping you stuck. But fear will always be there. It's what you do in spite of it that defines your life. You don't need someone to save you. You need to save yourself. You don't need another lecture. You need action. You don't need more time. You need more courage. Stop mooching. Stop hiding. Stop pretending it's okay. Decide right now that you're done living small. Because the moment you truly decide that enough is the moment your real life begins. You've mistaken comfort for success, and that's where the real danger begins. Just because you have a place to stay, meals to eat, and some distractions to keep you entertained doesn't mean you're doing well. Comfort without contribution is stagnation. It lulls you into thinking that you're okay, when in reality, you're not building anything. Comfort has become your hiding place. You've convinced yourself that surviving is the same thing as thriving, but deep down you know that's not true. There's no growth in staying still, and there's no fulfillment in freeloading. It's easy to fall into the trap of thinking that as long as things aren't falling apart, they must be working. But what kind of life is that? Coasting along, waiting for someone else to pay the bills, carry the weight, and make the hard decisions for you is not living. It's existing at someone else's expense. It's not peace you're feeling, it's numbness. And the longer you stay numb, the harder it becomes to wake up to your own potential. You weren't meant to just get by. You were meant to grow, contribute, and leave a mark. People might look at you and wonder how you're so calm, but what they don't see is that you've traded drive for dependency. You've traded ambition for excuses. You might call it taking a break or figuring things out. But if you're being honest, this break has turned into a lifestyle, and it's not sustainable. Sooner or later, the people around you will stop accepting the burden. They'll stop carrying you, and when that happens, you won't know how to carry yourself because you never learned. The comfort you've built your world around is a false foundation. It looks steady now, but it's built on the efforts of others. You're standing on ground that isn't yours, relying on support that has limits. When that support is gone, so is your safety net. You're not in control. You're at the mercy of someone else's patience and resources. That should wake you up, because no matter how much someone loves you, they can't carry you forever. At some point, love turns into exhaustion. There's also a cost to this kind of comfort that no one talks about. The more you stay in it, the more yourself. Worth takes a hit. You start believing that this is all you're capable of. You settle into routines that don't challenge you, and soon your confidence begins to erode. Your potential becomes harder to access, not because it's gone, but because you've buried it under excuses and avoidance, and the longer you stay buried, the harder it is to dig yourself out, but it's not too late. You can still choose to do the hard thing and take back control. The truth is, you're capable of so much more than this. You just haven't demanded more from yourself. You've lowered your standards and wrapped them in rationalizations. But comfort isn't the enemy, complacency is. There's nothing wrong with rest or support. What's wrong is when you make them permanent. Rest is a pause, not a plan. Support is a bridge, not a destination. You are made to build, not to coast. You are made to struggle, rise, and grow through effort, not float through life hoping someone else will carry your weight. The decision to move forward is yours. No one can make it for you. If you want a life of your own, if you want purpose, direction, and pride in yourself, then you're going to have to leave this false comfort behind. It starts with honesty. It starts with action. It starts with the courage to admit that surviving is not enough, and it never will be. The life you want is on the other side of effort. Comfort will never give it to you. Only responsibility and discipline will. And that journey starts the moment you stop mistaking comfort for success. People enable what they tolerate, and that's a hard truth both for you and the people around you. When someone continues to support your behavior, even when it's clearly destructive or irresponsible, they're not helping. They're allowing you to stay stuck. It may come from a place of love or fear, but enabling is not compassion. It's a cycle that keeps everyone trapped. The more they tolerate, the more you depend on them, and the more you depend, the less you grow. Eventually, resentment builds on both sides, and what once looked like support turns into quiet frustration. You might think that the people in your life are just being generous, patient, or understanding, but even the kindest intentions have limits. If someone is constantly stepping in to clean up your messes, pay your way, or make excuses for you, they're robbing you of the opportunity to learn through consequences. They're holding you in place while life keeps moving forward. And when you don't feel the sting of your own actions, you lose the incentive to change. Growth only happens when you're forced to stand on your own and figure it out. Those who love you might believe they're protecting you by making your path easier, but in reality, they're shielding you from the discomfort that leads to maturity. Every time they soften the blow, you miss a lesson. Every time they say it's okay, you believe it is, but it's not. There's nothing okay about being fully capable and yet unwilling to step up. Love without boundaries becomes a prison, and the people around you start to feel like guards instead of allies. That's not what healthy support looks like, and it's not how growth is supposed to happen. It's also important to look at your role in this dynamic. If you know someone is tolerating behavior that deep down you wouldn't accept from yourself, then you are knowingly taking advantage. That's not strength, that's manipulation. You may not be doing it maliciously, but you are doing it. And every time you allow someone to carry the consequences you should be facing, you weaken your own integrity. That damage shows up later in your confidence, your relationships, and your self-worth. No one else can protect you from that fallout. At some point, the people who have been enabling you are going to stop. Whether they hit their limit, run out of resources, or finally decide they deserve better, the support will fade, and when that day comes, you'll either be prepared or completely lost. Waiting until someone cuts you off is not a plan. That's gambling with your future. It's much wiser to decide for yourself that this isn't the life you want to keep living and start changing before you're forced to. You might fear that without their help you'll fail, but that fear is what's keeping you small. People don't grow when things are easy. They grow when they are challenged. You need that challenge. You need to fall to get back up, to learn through effort, and yes, it will be uncomfortable. But discomfort is a sign that change is happening. It's a signal that you're moving beyond the version of yourself that relies on others just to function. That is a good thing. That's what independence actually looks like. Choosing to stop relying on the tolerance of others isn't just about doing what's right. It's about becoming who you're supposed to be. The people in your life shouldn't have to shrink so you can stay comfortable. They deserve the best version of you, not the one that leans, takes, and avoids. Break the cycle before it breaks your relationships. If someone has been tolerating more than they should, thank them, but stop expecting it. Show them, and yourself, that you are capable of standing on your own. That's the first real step toward becoming someone who can be counted on instead of carried. Respect is earned, not demanded. You don't get to live off others, contribute nothing, and still expect to be treated like an equal. Life doesn't work that way, and neither do relationships. Respect isn't something you're automatically entitled to because of your age, your presence, or your words. It's something you build through consistent action, responsibility, and integrity. When people see that you're not pulling your weight, not showing gratitude, and not trying to improve, their respect for you starts to erode, no matter how much they care about you. If you want people to take you seriously, then you have to take yourself seriously first. That means showing up, being accountable, and doing what needs to be done, even when it's uncomfortable or inconvenient. You can't keep expecting others to treat you like an adult while acting like a child. That double standard wears people down. Words are empty without behavior to back them up. Respect doesn't come from defending yourself in arguments or listing your intentions. It comes from showing, day after day, that you're reliable and capable. There's a big difference between demanding respect and earning it. When you demand respect, you're usually covering up a lack of action or contribution. It's a form of control, trying to get people to treat you better than your actions deserve. But when you earn respect, you don't have to ask for it. It's given freely because people recognize your effort, your discipline, and your honesty. Respect that's earned is stable and lasting. Respect that's demanded is shaky and fragile. One challenge, one confrontation, and it disappears. Sometimes people confuse fear or tolerance with respect. Just because someone doesn't call you out doesn't mean they respect you. They might be biting their tongue to keep the peace or avoid conflict. Real respect is when someone trusts your judgment, listens to your input, and looks to you in tough moments, not because they have to, but because you've proven you're dependable. That's the kind of respect that actually matters, and you only get it when you take ownership of your life. If you've lost people's respect, the good news is that it's not permanent. You can earn it back, but not through apologies or promises. You have to show them, not tell them. You have to be consistent even when no one's watching. You have to follow through even when it's hard. Respect grows slowly, and every small decision counts. The way you speak to others, the way you carry yourself, the way you handle setbacks, those are all opportunities to either rebuild or break down the image others have of you. And while rebuilding respect can take time, losing it can happen instantly. One selfish choice, one burst of laziness, one act of entitlement can undo weeks or months of progress. That's why it's important to stay grounded and self-aware. The people around you are not blind. They notice whether you're putting in the work or just pretending. They notice whether you're trying or just going through the motions. Respect can't be faked. It has to be earned, and earning it requires honesty and humility. So if you feel like people are distancing themselves, pulling back, or not treating you the way you want to be treated, don't start with blame. Start with a mirror. Ask yourself what you've shown them. Ask yourself whether your actions match your expectations. Then get to work on becoming someone whose presence, effort, and excuses are lies you tell yourself to stay comfortable. They're the stories you repeat to avoid facing discomfort, challenge, or responsibility. You say things like, "I'm not ready," "I don't have the time," or "it's not my fault." But none of those are rooted in truth. They're shields you use to protect your ego from the reality that you're not doing what needs to be done. Excuses don't fix anything. They just delay the moment you'll finally have to look yourself in the eye and admit that the problem is not your circumstances, it's your unwillingness to act. Every time you make an excuse, you trade growth for comfort. You give away your power and place the blame on things outside your control. Life is hard for everyone. People deal with setbacks, failures, and pain all the time. The difference between those who move forward and those who stay stuck is what they choose to do in spite of those obstacles. If you spend more energy avoiding responsibility than taking action, you're not being held back, you're holding yourself back. The harsh truth is that excuses feel good in the short term, but cost you everything in the long run. They protect your pride today, but destroy your future tomorrow, and while you're busy justifying your lack of progress, time is passing, opportunities are slipping away, people are losing faith, and worst of all, you're falling further behind without even realizing it. You keep telling yourself that things will change soon, but soon turns into someday, and someday becomes never. You have to understand that your mind is clever. It will convince you that your excuse is legitimate. It will find ways to make you feel like a victim, like life has just been unfair to you. But if you look around, you'll always find someone who's had it harder than you and still made it happen. The real difference isn't in what they had, it's in what they refused to let stop them. They chose action over avoidance. They faced their pain instead of hiding behind reasons. Excuses are the invisible chains that keep you from reaching your potential. They don't make noise, they don't cause immediate damage, but over time they rob you of your confidence, your discipline, and your momentum. They disguise themselves as self-protection, but they're actually self-sabotage. The moment you stop making excuses, you start getting real results. That shift in mindset changes everything. Nobody's saying you have to be perfect or have it all figured out, but you do need to be honest. You need to call yourself out every time you hear yourself making an excuse. Catch it, confront it, replace it with a decision. Don't wait until everything's ideal, because it never will be. Just start where you are with what you have and take a step. Then another. That's how you break the cycle. That's how you move forward. The truth is, the person you want to become is on the other side of those excuses. And the only way to meet that person is to stop lying to yourself. Stop telling stories about why you can't, and start showing yourself why you can. When you do that, you take back control of your life. You stop playing defense and start playing offense. And that's the moment real change begins. Responsibility is not optional. It's the foundation of any real, lasting growth. You can't build a future if you're constantly blaming your past. You can't move forward while pointing fingers at everyone else. Life will always throw challenges your way, and there will always be unfair situations. But the truth is, how you respond to them is your responsibility. You don't get to choose what happens to you, but you absolutely get to choose what you do about it. Until you fully accept that, you will remain stuck in a cycle of excuses and missed opportunities. Nobody is coming to rescue you. That might sound harsh, but it's the truth that sets you free. The idea that someone will show up and fix your life, hand you a better job, clean up your mistakes, or make you whole again is a fantasy. You are the only person who can turn your life around. People can support you, offer guidance, and encourage you, but they can't do the work for you. If you don't take responsibility, all that support becomes wasted effort. At the end of the day, it has to be you who takes the first step. Owning your mistakes is part of the deal. That's what mature people do. They admit when they're wrong. They take the hit when they mess up. They don't hide behind blame or stay silent while others clean up their mess. Responsibility means being accountable not only for your actions, but also for your inaction. When you avoid decisions or delay progress, you're still making a choice, and you're responsible for the outcome. Growth only begins when you stop avoiding the weight of your own choices. Responsibility isn't about guilt or shame, it's about power. When you take ownership of your life, you take back the power to change it. You're no longer at the mercy of what happens around you. You become someone who adapts, learns, and keeps moving forward. That power doesn't come from waiting for the right moment or perfect conditions. It comes from deciding right now that your life is in your hands. That's when you start showing up differently. That's when people begin to see you in a new light. When you avoid responsibility, you give it to someone else. You place the weight of your future on your parents, your partner, your friends, or society. That's not fair to them, and it's a betrayal of your own potential. You were not put on this earth to sit on the sidelines while others do the heavy lifting. You have a role to play, and it matters. Whether or not you step up determines how far you go. The longer you wait to accept that role, the more time you waste standing still. There is no perfect time to start being responsible. There's only now. The sooner you take ownership of your finances, your mindset, your habits, and your decisions, the sooner your life starts to shift. It might not be easy at first. In fact, it probably won't be. But growth is never easy. It's supposed to stretch you, challenge you, and make you uncomfortable. That's how you evolve into someone stronger, wiser, and more capable. And the only way to get there is by choosing responsibility over avoidance, over blame, over fear. So ask yourself, what are you avoiding that you need to own? What part of your life have you handed over to someone else because it felt easier that way? And what would your life look like if you took it all back? You have what it takes. You just need to stop waiting and start deciding. Stop hesitating and start moving. The life you want is already within reach. But you won't get it by waiting. You'll get it by owning your life completely. Every mistake, every challenge, every step. That's the path to real freedom. No one is coming to rescue you. That's not a threat. It's a truth that can free you if you're willing to hear it. The longer you wait for someone to fix your life, to save you from your problems, or to hand you a new beginning, the more time you waste. That fantasy keeps you paralyzed, stuck in a place where nothing changes because you've convinced yourself that someone else has the power, but they don't. It's you. It has always been you. You are the only one who can take the steps necessary to build the life you want. It's easy to blame the past, circumstances, or people who let you down. It's tempting to believe that your setbacks are the result of what others failed to do, and maybe that's true to a degree. Maybe someone did hurt you, abandon you, or fail you. But here's the truth, they're not coming back to fix it. Even if they wanted to, they couldn't. You're the one living with the consequences. You're the one waking up every day in the reality you create. And you're the only one who can change that reality going forward. You don't need a hero. You need to become one, not the kind that wears a cape and saves the world in a flash of light, but the kind that shows up every single day even when it's hard. The kind that fights through setbacks, doubt, and fear, the kind that builds something from nothing. You don't need perfect conditions or approval from others. You need grit, you need resilience, you need to look in the mirror and say, "I've got this," even when you feel like you don't. Especially when you feel like you don't, there's power in accepting full responsibility for your life. It's not weakness to admit you're struggling, it's strength, but there's a difference between being honest and staying stuck. You have every right to feel overwhelmed. You have every right to acknowledge your pain, but don't let that be the end of the story. Use it. Let it fuel your next step, because no one else knows what you need better than you do. No one else has the insight, the urgency, or the connection to your dreams the way you do. Waiting for rescue is a slow death of your potential. It chips away at your confidence, your belief in yourself, and your ability to act. Every day you delay, every excuse you make, and every moment you spend hoping someone else will change your life is a moment you could have been building it yourself. The truth is, you're not helpless. You're just scared, and that fear can either cage you or drive you, depending on the decision you make right now. So you get to decide, do you keep waiting for someone to rescue you, or do you start becoming the person who rescues yourself? This isn't about pretending you have it all together. It's about choosing action over avoidance, choosing growth over comfort, choosing to fight for a better future, even if you don't know exactly how yet. You'll learn along the way, you'll stumble, sure, but you'll also rise, and every time you do, you'll realize just how strong you've been all along. The life you want doesn't need permission from anyone but you. You don't need a perfect plan, you don't need a savior, you need courage, consistency, and commitment. Show up for yourself, be the one who stands when everyone else walks away, be the one who rebuilds when everything falls apart. Because no one else can live your life, no one else can chase your purpose, no one will rescue you, but you can, and when you do, you won't just survive, you'll finally start to live. A freeloading lifestyle is not sustainable. Eventually, the weight of living off others catches up with you. People may help at first out of love, guilt, or obligation, but that support has an expiration date. No one wants to carry the full load forever, especially when the person they're supporting shows no effort to contribute. Relationships become strained, trust erodes, and resentment grows. When you take without giving, it creates an imbalance that makes others feel used. Over time, they begin to pull back, and the safety net you've relied on starts to unravel. Living without accountability might feel easier in the moment, but it builds a foundation of instability. There is no pride in depending on others while refusing to grow. There's no future in coasting through life with no plan, no ambition, and no sense of duty. People notice when you're avoiding responsibility. They see when you're always taking and never offering anything back. Eventually, even the most patient people will reach their breaking point. When they do, you're left standing alone with no skills, no plan, and no one left to lean on. There's also a personal cost to living like this. When you consistently avoid stepping up, you lose confidence in yourself. You start to believe you can't survive on your own because you've never truly tried. That mindset becomes your trap. You stay dependent because you've convinced yourself you're not capable, but the truth is you are capable, you just haven't committed. Growth doesn't happen in comfort. It happens when you challenge yourself, take risks, and face the discomfort of doing things on your own. The danger of a freeloading lifestyle is that it robs you of the very things that make life fulfilling. Purpose, pride, independence, and self-worth all come from contributing, building, and achieving. When you live off others, you miss out on that. You don't get the satisfaction of earning something, of solving problems, of overcoming challenges. You stay stuck in a loop of dependency, always waiting for someone else to come through for you. That's not living. That's just surviving on borrowed time. People who truly care about you want to see you succeed, not just get by. But they can't want it more than you do. Support is supposed to be temporary, a stepping stone, not a permanent crutch. If you continue to rely on others with no effort to change, eventually they'll stop offering help. Not because they don't care, but because they realize their help is only enabling you to stay stuck. The most loving thing someone can do is to stop feeding a lifestyle that keeps you from growing up. It's never too late to turn things around. The decision to take control of your life can happen in an instant. All it takes is a moment of honesty and a commitment to stop leaning and start leading. You don't need to have all the answers today. You just need to take one step, get a job, start saving, learn something useful, contribute where you live. Do something that proves to yourself and others that you're ready to carry your own weight. That's how respect is built. That's how trust is rebuilt. Your life is your responsibility. If you want to be taken seriously, if you want to be valued, if you want to be independent, then stop looking for the easy way out. Start doing the hard, necessary work of becoming someone who others can count on, not someone they have to carry. That transformation won't happen overnight, but it starts the moment you stop freeloading and start building. That's when your life starts to feel like your own. You're capable of more, but you're scared of trying. You're capable of more, but you're scared of trying. That fear has a grip on you because deep down you're afraid that effort might still lead to failure. So instead of risking disappointment, you stay in the same place, doing the same things, hoping something will change on its own, but it won't. Growth doesn't happen through hope alone. It happens through action, especially when action feels uncomfortable. You already have what it takes. You just haven't let yourself prove it. Fear convinces you to wait until you feel ready, but the truth is, readiness is a lie. Nobody ever truly feels ready to face their biggest fears. Confidence comes after you act, not before. The longer you wait for confidence to show up before you move, the longer you'll stay stuck in hesitation. Action is what builds belief. It's not about leaping all at once. It's about taking small steps in spite of the fear. Each step forward proves to your mind that fear doesn't control you. Most people let fear write the story of their life. They make decisions based on what feels safe, not what could help them grow, and in doing so, they shrink themselves. They convince themselves that settling is better than risking, but deep down, something aches. There's a quiet dissatisfaction that never goes away because you know you're not living up to what's inside of you. You know there's more to your life than just getting by. That voice inside isn't your enemy. It's a reminder of your potential. When you avoid trying, you don't just protect yourself from failure. You also block your chances at success. You can't have one without the other. You want certainty, but growth doesn't come with guarantees. You have to step into the unknown, into the arena where you might fall, but you also might rise, and even if you stumble, that's how you learn. That's how you build resilience. Failure isn't the end of your story. It's part of the process of becoming someone stronger. It's easy to talk about what you could do if things were different. If you had more support, more money, more time, more clarity. But those are just reasons you've collected to avoid the truth. The truth is, the change starts with you, right here, right now, exactly as you are. You don't need more time. You need more courage. You don't need perfect conditions. You need to trust that messy, imperfect action is still progress. Waiting is comfortable, but it's costing you everything. The people who go far in life are not the ones without fear. They're the ones who feel fear and still take the next step. They're not braver or luckier than you. They've just decided that growth is more important than comfort. And that decision has changed their entire life. You can make the same decision. You can decide that your fear doesn't get to keep running the show. You can decide that you're worth the risk, because you are. You're capable of more, and deep down you know it. There will never be a perfect time. There will never be a moment where you feel completely ready. So don't wait for permission. Don't wait for everything to line up. Take one step, show up for yourself, push through the resistance. On the other side of that fear is the life you keep imagining. And the only way to get there is to stop letting fear be the loudest voice in the room. Let courage speak louder, even if it whispers at first. Because once you start, you'll realize you've been capable all along. You're capable of more. But you're scared of trying. That fear isn't always loud or obvious. Sometimes it's quiet, disguising itself as procrastination, doubt, or distraction. You tell yourself you'll start tomorrow, or when things calm down, or once you're more prepared. But tomorrow turns into next week, and next week becomes next year. The real reason you're not moving forward isn't because you lack ability. It's because you haven't confronted the fear that's whispering, "What if I fail?" That fear keeps you stuck in a cycle that feels safe, but is actually limiting your growth. When you avoid trying, you also avoid discovering what you're truly made of. It's easier to imagine success than to chase it and risk disappointment. So you play small, hoping no one notices, hoping you won't have to face the discomfort that comes with stepping out of your comfort zone. But there's a cost to that safety. You miss out on progress. You miss out on experiences that challenge you, shape you, and reveal your potential. Every day you let fear decide for you is a day you lose to hesitation. Many people wait for a moment when everything feels right, when they feel confident, ready, and certain, but that moment rarely arrives on its own. Confidence is built by doing, not by waiting. You gain strength by facing fear, not by avoiding it. The first step always feels uncertain. That's normal. The people who grow and evolve aren't fearless. They're just willing to take action in spite of fear. They've accepted that discomfort is part of the deal, and they keep going anyway. The danger of waiting is that it becomes a habit. You tell yourself not now, so often that it becomes your identity. You begin to believe that maybe you're not meant for more, but you are. You weren't born to stay stuck, to play it safe forever. You have talents that haven't been used, goals that haven't been pursued, and dreams that haven't even been explored. You owe it to yourself to find out what's possible. That begins the moment you stop letting fear dictate your choices. Trying doesn't guarantee success, but it guarantees movement. It guarantees learning. It guarantees growth. You'll stumble, make mistakes, and have setbacks. But those are signs that you're in the game. You can't grow by standing still. Every effort you make is a brick in the foundation of something stronger, something real. You won't get everything right, but you'll get better. You'll start to trust yourself more. And that trust will become the fuel that carries you forward. The truth is, you don't need to be perfect to start. You just need to be willing to face uncertainty, willing to make imperfect moves, and willing to keep showing up even when it's hard. That willingness is more powerful than any talent or advantage. It's what separates those who dream from those who do. You have everything you need inside you right now to take the next step. You don't need permission. You just need to believe that the risk of staying stuck is greater than the risk of trying. On the other side of your fear is a version of you that's proud, fulfilled, and free. That version of you only shows up when you decide to stop waiting. So take the step. Say yes to the challenge. Show up even when your voice shakes and your hands tremble, because growth doesn't come to those who wait. It comes to those who try. And when you finally do, you'll wonder why you ever waited so long to believe in yourself. Change happens the moment you decide you're done, not when someone begs you, not when life forces you, not when you've hit rock bottom. Real change begins when you say, "I've had enough." That decision doesn't need applause. It doesn't need approval. It's a quiet moment of clarity that shifts your entire direction. You don't need to wait for a disaster or some final straw. You can choose right now to stop tolerating what's been holding you back and start becoming who you're meant to be. You don't need to have every step mapped out. You just need to make a firm choice that you're not going to live like this anymore. Whether it's a toxic relationship, a destructive habit, a dead-end job, or even a mindset that keeps you small, you have the power to say no more. It doesn't mean the change will be easy. It won't be, but it will be worth it, because every step you take from that decision forward is a step toward freedom, toward self-respect, and toward the life you know you should be living. Too many people wait for external permission to change. They wait until things fall apart, until they're forced to move. But by then, the damage is done. The truth is, your life doesn't get better by chance. It gets better by change. And change is a choice. One decision can shift the entire momentum of your life. The hardest part is choosing. The rest is effort, consistency, and time. But until you choose, nothing moves. You stay in the same cycle, making the same excuses, asking why nothing feels different. Saying you're done is not a moment of weakness. It's a moment of strength. It means you're no longer willing to accept what's been draining you. It means you've finally drawn a line between who you've been and who you're ready to become. Some people won't understand. Some may try to convince you to stay the same because it's comfortable for them. But your life is not about keeping others comfortable. It's about being honest with yourself and doing what needs to be done, even if it's uncomfortable in the short term. Change often feels lonely at first. You might question yourself. You might wonder if you're overreacting, if it's really that bad, if maybe you can just endure it a little longer. But deep down, you know the answer. You wouldn't be craving change if things were working. Trust that inner voice. It's not being dramatic. It's being honest, and the more you listen to it, the stronger it gets. The more you act on it, the more your life starts to reflect the truth you've been ignoring. Choosing to be done doesn't mean you have all the answers. It just means you're done accepting less than what you deserve. It's a promise to yourself that you're going to do better, even if you're still figuring out how. That promise alone is powerful. It changes how you walk, how you talk, and how you handle what comes next, because now you're no longer stuck in survival mode. You're operating from intention, from strength, from truth. That's how real transformation begins. So if you feel that stirring in your gut, if you feel that fire starting to burn and that whisper telling you it's time, listen to it. Don't wait for things to get worse. Don't wait for someone else to save you. You are your own turning point. You are your own wake-up call. And the moment you decide you're done, everything starts to shift. Not overnight, not perfectly, but powerfully, because change doesn't begin with a plan, it begins with a decision.